Yeah, it's good to finally meet you, man.
Yeah, you too.
You know, it's kind of a little surreal, yeah, how we met. Yeah, seriously.
It's like almost feels like a Tinder date.
Kind of, a little bit. Except we're talking about our love of filmmaking, you know, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, man. I mean, no, it's crazy though, because like, thanks for inviting me to your workspace.
Thanks for coming through. It's a lot easier. 2 babies. To be close. The wife appreciates it, so.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, hey, man, I try to make it, you know, easy for people, you know, so that they don't have to do much or go far or, you know, and middle of the day, I mean, we've been trying to do this for a little bit. Like, we've been trying to do this for a minute, so it's nice to actually, you know, just put the name to a face, or a face to a name, and actually get shit going, and, yeah, man.
You might hear some babies in the background.
That's fine.
Every now and then.
You know,
it's my story, so, you know.
Yeah. I mean, these mics are pretty good. They kind of cover everything, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. But, dude, you know, fuck.
Let's talk.
Yeah, let's go.
Ask, you know, just, you know,
I know.
just ask away, dog.
A lot of this is conversation bits. Yeah. No. And, you know, hey, man, it's just the way. So we met through TikTok, I think because I was posting stuff for the podcast Guerilla Film Fam, and then all of a sudden I started seeing posts that were kind of relevant to guerrilla filmmaking, and then I see a guy carrying a camcorder wearing a gorilla mask.
Oh yeah.
So naturally I followed you, and I was like, okay, what's this guy's deal? You know, on one hand, it's like, it's provocative because it reminds me of like John Waters. On the other hand, it was also kind of like the kind of shock value that you would get from like Slipknot, where it's just like, holy fuck, like I can't tell if this guy scares me or not, but I'm intrigued. And the more I've learned about you over time, it's just, you know, and just looking at your zine and everything too that you've been putting together, it's pretty crazy to me how you've been doing it. It seems like you've been doing it for a while. I mean, yeah, I don't know what's the deal. I mean, yeah, dude, what's going on? What is MAKEA?
So
is it MAKEA or MAKEA?
So it's MAKEA. So okay.
No shit. Okay.
So here's the quick version of just since
where does it all stem from? Yeah.
So the title of my movie is The Guys Make a Movie. Right.
It's just literally just the guy, like a.
That's what it's called.
The guys make a movie.
Yeah.
Like okay, yeah.
And so MAKEA is just the middle of it. Right.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
And so that's where this whole thing stems from, because I'm under this whole, look, man, I mean, I am on a complete mission to be the guy, like that Robert Rodriguez dude right now, you know?
Yeah. I could tell. I could tell. I mean, your setup's impressive, you know.
And it's like, there's, you know, I'm not the only one. There's a bunch. There's a bunch.
Exactly.
I've said this before. I hate. Oh man, it sounds so cheesy, but it's so fucking true, man. Rick Rubin, and as far as I've gotten in the book too, I feel bad for admitting that. I've read like a chapter. I've read like one chapter, and then I read this other book, and I was like, oh shit. But to take something from it that quick, I'm stoked to read the rest. But anyway,
right.
He just talks about how, like, you know, it's a really humbling thing too, as a creative. He says, like, you know, there's these thoughts that we have, like, where we get really excited about these ideas, you know, is that's not our idea. You know, that's the universe that threw this idea out to the rest of the universe, I guess, or the world, whatever. And it was these, you know, people on the receiving end that basically caught the football. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then at that point, it's on the receiver to run to the end zone or get tackled or, you know, whatever, fucking run out of bounds, what have you. Mm. And so at that point, it's just who's going to get to the end zone first, right? Like, so that's where, like, this whole, like, thing kind of snowballed, started from, kind of thing, I guess. Because, you know, I didn't just start making movies right now. You know what I mean? But this project is fairly new. But this is just my whole renegade thing. Damn, she's going crazy.
It's funny. I know we had 30 minutes of complete silence, and then we had our issues, and now it's just, it's a live show, bro. It's fine.
It's all good. And these are my dude. I love.
But this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, this is life on top of actually making your dreams come true. We're working towards.
This is how serious I am.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So let's go back a little bit. So you're born and raised in Long Beach, right?
Yeah. Well,
Long Beach,
technically,
or Los Angeles?
Okay, so technically, I was born in San Mateo, which is where Tom Brady was born, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I don't remember that shit at all. Like, my first memory is at my grandma's house in Long Beach. Like, everything, pictures, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Long Beach is all over my body. I've been here as far as I know. I've been here since I was 4 months old.
Wow. Okay.
So, but it's a weird thing because I always thought I was born here for a long time.
Wow,
like, I didn't
really?
know. Like, I didn't know where I was born, you know what I mean? It's just a weird thing. And my whole identity, like, I didn't, like, still I have I don't even know fully, like, I've done, like, 23andMe and all that shit, but, like, to this day, like, I still don't really fully get or have an identity other than Long Beach. It's kind of fucked up, but
that's pretty wild, actually. Yeah,
it's weird and interesting.
I mean, I get that because that would have been me if I stayed in Florida.
Yeah.
So I get that, and South Florida in a lot of ways is a lot like living in Miami is a lot like living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's just less spread out up and down as opposed to left and right.
So it's a bigger little town. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's
for
like,
sure.
That's all. It's just like it's just in a cooler spot.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, what was it like growing up here? I mean, there's all that, because there's art and there's culture here. There's all that, there's a huge, there's a boom in art, I think, in the early mid 90s and
everything,
all the time, and for me, I didn't have that. What was it like for you though, growing up?
I mean, I had a pretty unique little childhood. Went to school in the hood, like the complete hood. I remember in 5th grade, it was when the Rodney King riots were going down. Wow. Like everybody's having earthquake drills and shit like that, and we had a straight drive-by drill.
Jesus Christ.
Was, I'm just trying to sum it up as like real quick. But at the same time, the biggest father figure I had at that point was my mom's boyfriend. I think she was engaged to him once or twice. But it was I don't know if you know, it was Dave Stevens, which was he created the Rocketeer, which is like, if you ask any art department dude, that's like their favorite movie in the world, right? There's a comic, he created this comic book character, and the comic book character became a movie. And like, it was, I think Disney did it, and it was.
It does sound familiar, yeah.
It was like a whole 50s like pilot forward thing. It was Jennifer Connelly.
No shit. And he like created that.
Yeah. So it was cool. Like he was like it was him. Well, and he was also the dude. So it was him, this lady Olivia, and I forget what the other dude's name was, but there was 3 of these people pretty much responsible for bringing like pinup shit back, like from like before it was just the 50s.
Interesting.
And then in the early 80s, like these people brought it back, and it was with Betty Page, right? So
okay, yeah.
He's like, you see any documentary you see Betty Page in, like this dude's in that documentary because he had the best relationship with her, and he's the one that painted her first, like, because before then it was actually just pictures, right? So they brought that whole thing back. And then that's how, whatever, he's a big comic book guy and like da-da-da-da. So like, I got a taste of like early film and that kind of stuff. Like he introduced me to like King Kong and Fay, I remember I went and met Fay Ray at the Chinese Man Theater.
Oh, that's cool.
There was like that was in 5th grade, so it was interesting, like, because he wasn't my dad, and we didn't live together. He was in Studio City. So it's just like,
oh wow,
that was those were
worlds away.
Yeah, but for lack of better words, like that was my weekend.
Yeah,
and then during the week is back to fucking drive-by drills. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I'd say that's been kind of my life until I grew up and
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't like living on the edge too much.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
But like, I think that was actually, when I said that out loud, I'm like, damn, that's pretty much been my whole fucking life. Like,
no, I feel you.
Balance,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's interesting though too, because I mean, like on one hand, it's like you have the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
You know, it's like super traumatic, and then it comes back, and it's just like, oh wow, like there's this like weird, like movies were kind of like a sanctuary almost, right? Yeah. So I mean, what, like, did that inspire you to kind of like, did that plant the seed to like later further down the road to kind of, you know, want to pursue it, or where does that whole crazy kind of lust come from?
Man, I don't know. I love like, you know, like I had to do a lot of, like, I did a lot of drugs for a while. Like, had to get off that shit. Like, did a lot of work on myself, and like I like to like really get into the psychology of like why I did things, and like because I got to improve them. You know, that's the only way you grow. So.
Did you go to film school at all, or?
Kind of. I went to Santa Monica College. Like, had a toe, and like I took film classes.
Yeah.
I tried to go to film school and burnt myself out because I didn't have guidance, and took too many classes, and because I was trying to just take the film classes, but to get there you had to take all these classes, and just fucking wound up sleeping in the parking lot and just burnt out, and just never went back.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm so glad I didn't go back. Just because the shit I've, you know, put in experience since. I made up for it. It wasn't like I fucking just stopped doing film stuff. Like, I was like, okay, I went and hit background super hard.
Oh, how'd that go?
Acting. That's how I got my toe in.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing. Like I said, I've never had guidance. Like, I've never had a mentor. Like, I don't know, you know, anybody. I'm really good at what I do. I practice, and I fucking get really good at my shit, and I got style, and people hate on that shit. So when I meet someone that recognizes a spark, like, as far as was doing anything, they weren't like, there's no love, you know, and that's fine. I just chalked it up to me not having experience at the time, but I still get it today, and it's like, damn, man, like, and I'm not talking shit or nothing. Like, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I do look at work, and I'm like, sometimes it's just fucking better than that one, you know? And it's like, man, like, I don't know. I'm trying to let go of all the bitterness, man. I've been here. I grew up, like I said, I grew up in Long Beach. This is, what, 22 miles from where we're talking about? You know what I mean? Right. It's not like
it's
far
super, it's
thing, but it's worlds away. Like, yeah. And so, like, I mean,
yeah, it's fascinating on how, like, I mean, you know, LA in general has a weird bubble.
Yeah.
Over just not just the town, but over the people as well, you know?
Because, I mean, like, dude, check this out. Like, went to Santa Monica College, right?
Yeah.
So started, got a place like right there, and then moved to, I don't know, it's off of Venice and La Cienega, right? And my neighbor, this dude, knew like all these weird skaters and shit, like these big ass, like big names and shit, and it was cool. Like, we would hang out, smoke weed and all that stuff, and like this dude wasn't doing shit, and he saw me getting into film, right? And then, like you said, this bubble, like, all these years, dude, a few years later, TikTok and all these fucking things are blowing up, right? And this dude, my old neighbor, is a straight star, dude. Like, straight up Honda commercials. Like, I'm talking like, this dude's a star.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And so I reach out, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, congratulations, like this and that. And like, I'm not asking him for shit. I did ask him if he wanted to work on something. Only, and I didn't push that in first. Like, I'm not that dude, right? But he fucking hit me up, sent me this heartfelt ass thing, and he's like, dude, you know, if it wasn't for you, like, I wouldn't even be in, like, there. I wouldn't even thought this shit was possible.
Really?
Like, this heartfelt ass message. And then ghost me, right? And I'm just like,
and he ghosted you?
I fucking hate fucking Hollywood. That's a Hollywood nutshell.
But he
there, right?
ghosted you.
Oh, straight ghosted me. Like, I'm talking like fucking ghosted me. Like,
how long was in between? Like, was it?
Oh no, this is like conversation, stop.
Oh my!
Like, it was not like
that's. Crazy.
It was not like, oh, 2 weeks, just lost time. Like, it was like
nothing.
Where the fuck this fool go? Like, that's fucking. It was just weird. Like, cause I don't.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't ask for shit, and I don't really, you know, I don't know, man. I just get this weird thing, like, where people they offer like this weird amount of information to me that I don't ask for, and it makes no sense because it doesn't have anything to do with anything. Like, if you didn't say these things, it wouldn't even be it would be nothing. right? Like,
yeah,
it's just
I
weird
know
adult shit. Like,
yeah, I know where you're coming from. Yeah, because I mean, some people, like, I don't know, they project among, or they insist upon themselves a little too much. You know what I mean? And you know who the real people are when they actually get back to you, or like reply to you. But I've gone through similar phases, and that's kind of like what I'm, you know, why I've decided to actually put this project out, was mostly to kind of like reach out, because I mean, I consume, you know, countless hours of podcasts, like on a weekly basis, and a lot of them are about, you know, artists and filmmakers. But the only problem is that because, you know, podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts are going the way of MTV, where they're trying to essentially not sell out, but, you know, sell advertisements. Right. You know, that's where it gets really fucking weird. And they don't talk to people like us who are basically like, not, I don't want to say up and coming, because we've always been here, but because of how saturated the internet is and how saturated everything else, and we're just adding to that fire, that now it's like, okay, we got to start talking about other people who aren't famous. Like, what I wouldn't give for Mark Maron to interview somebody who's not famous, but at the same time, I think that's where I come in, because A, I'm not Mark Maron, B, this podcast is very similar to that style, but it's not it. And C, we're not big names. I
told him to eat a dick sandwich.
Did you really? Oh my god. But you know what though, like, no hate, I mean, it's just, you know, I tend to think that, you know, the competition gets everyone fucking crazy, you know, and they get, and that's kind of maybe why people do stupid shit, like ghost other people, right? Like, but it's not our fucking, you know, it's nobody's doing but their own kind of perception of what Hollywood does to them, I think.
Well, here's the thing, okay, on regarding that, for one, like, it's not like, even like aside from the competition, like, okay, recent example of what we were talking about,
right? Like,
I put this post out and I was like, hey, because I'm just really trying to push Long Beach in everything I do right now, and so I was like, hey, if any local businesses want to get in on this movie I'm filming next couple weeks, like, hit me up. One business hits me up, hey, like, what do you got going on? I said, hey, I don't know if this is your thing, but here's what I got. Here's a couple ideas. Like, if you want to make it work, do. Nothing. Really? You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, just have a fucking common decency to hit me back. Like, first of all, I put a post up. I didn't message you. You messaged me. Right. And I had, you know, enough to at least go through your page, research that shit, and start off with, hey, I don't know if this would be the best fit. Yeah. You know what I mean? But here's what I got. And you can't even say no. Like, I don't. Right. I don't know you. I don't. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
Do you think it's like a weird delusionary thing where now he wants money from us or something?
I don't know. I mean, I have to think so. Yeah, I have to think so.
It only makes sense, right?
Like, I mean, not all. Fuck, we'll get into that too. But regarding the competition part of it, and going back to Hollywood stuff, is like, and like the people that have like kind of, you know, I don't know, just not suppress me in any way, just haven't helped me in any way, you know, and that's fine. Like, I've learned more from it, but the competition thing blows my mind, because it's almost it's a farce. Like, it doesn't even exist, you know. And I think the more experienced you become in this thing, maybe that, I don't know, maybe that's the reality I've started to learn or whatever, but I mean, that shit doesn't exist, dude. You fucking have, like, we're 2 directors in here, right? I mean, we could sprinkle like 10 more directors if we want in here.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Absolutely. And we could all go, and here, this is a script right here. Absolutely. This is a script right here. All 10 of us could fucking go shoot this script right now. And there's not going to be one that turns out the same.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, how is there competition? Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all gonna fucking stand out in a different way.
I think the problem is kind of like, it's competition who can get the house faster, or who can get the money faster, who can get the life faster.
This is my whole fucking.
But you got all 3 of those things.
This is the whole MAKEA project, dude. Yeah, this is the whole where we're at right now. This is the whole fucking. This is the whole movie. This is why we're here. This is the whole everything. So this is. I did it. I fucking did it. I did it right. I learned all the ways. I did take a bunch of film finance classes at UCLA. Like, I went back and took those because I needed to know, right?
Just like how to budget it properly and everything, and
how to do everything. I mean, the ins and outs of what they call Hollywood. Like, I needed to know how that shit worked. Like, I couldn't just fucking guess, because no one is going to tell you.
Right.
You go on YouTube, it's fucking, all they're going to do is, you know, get you close and then pitch you an ad. And anybody that really knows, they're not going to give you the time of day, just because, I don't know, they're fucking dicks. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is. But so
no, it's true.
So I had to fucking know. Like, I have to know. Like, if my movie, you know, like, I can't be a naive person in a Shark Tank. Like, I have to be a shark too, right? So that's, I have to. So like, I'm a doer, dude. Like, that's what I have to do. So I have to become a shark. So I'm gonna go learn all these things. Like, I'm gonna go study film finance under homegirl that produced My Big Fat Greek Wedding, right? Which is a huge indie success,
right?
One of the biggest fucking ever, like up there with like Paranormal Activity type shit. Like, no one gives that shit credit. Anyway, this lady taught me and my wife like how to do shit, you know, like introduced me to these film markets and like the way the money works, not the way the creativity works. You know what I mean? Because that was a big problem of mine. Was I was relying all on this creativity, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like someone's gonna fucking see me. My stories are so great, and they're great. My shit's awesome. I'm fucking really good at this shit,
right?
Like,
but so is everybody else.
So is everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And guess what? The internet exists, like,
right?
Fucking. So here we are back at the fucking who's gonna catch it and run the fastest, right?
Yeah, and but it's also too like a giant mixtape of shit. You know?
Okay, so I'm gonna try all this.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
It's literally like you have your hits and your misses, and
so here's the problem with the internet and being a creative and a filmmaker is that, you know, especially if you make your own shit, like, you just want it out, right? Like, before it be, I mean, for me, the only reason I wouldn't put it out before, or a short film, because I thought, I was like, oh, dude, Sundance is gonna take it if I put it out, right? And it's like, man, fuck Sundance. Fucking, they're taking Tarantino and they're premiering Tarantino and Scorsese. Like, where the fuck do I fit in that shit? Like, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, period. And fucking, I mean, as good as I am, like, that's just not where I'm at right now. Like, I don't have the money to compete. Like, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so that was the only reason to not show to not put my shit out at the time. And then I realized that they don't even give a fuck about shorts anyway. They just care about the features. And so I was like, okay, so you can put your shit out. And so I say that to say that, you know, as an artist, as a filmmaker, like, all you want is people to see your shit. You know, and so 9 times out of 10, you're going to put that shit out there with no plan, with no fucking marketing budget, like, with none of these things in place. And it's going to get a couple hundred views, and that shit goes by the wayside, and you either do it all again and get a little closer to quitting, or you had put so much into that shit, maybe you quit already. You know what I mean? Because the feedback wasn't there. Like you said, it's a fucking mixtape of shit. Like, and fucking, I mean, like, go on Spotify, type in mixtape.
I'm so glad you said all that.
How many fucking playlists are there? You know what I mean? Like, how many fucking playlists are there? And how many do you have to sort through to find the shit that you want?
Right.
And if you, and the crazy shit about that is you fucking get through the first 20, guaranteed, I'm going to say, fuck, as much as 40% of those first 20 playlists are the same. You know what I mean? Like, there's crossover of all these songs, like, in every playlist. You know what I mean? And it's the same shit on YouTube with these movies. And so, back to this project, like, it's like this big thing. Like, I went, like I said, I learned everything. Like, I learned the real, like, the shit that I was fucking naive about, as far as like the money and like that part of thing, like how that shit gets sold and moves through Hollywood, and like chain of title and like all these things, like why you start a LLC for the movie, like, you know, these all the things, like how these markets work and like what the distributors are for, and, you know, what a sales agent is, like all these things to make the proper Hollywood thing go, right? And it's so funny to where you learn about this shit and then it makes everything so apparent of where, like, why movies are like just dog shit, like why they're spending $100 million on these Marvel movies that are making fucking $8 million, you know, like, you know, that, or I didn't even hear about like the last 3.
Right.
You know what I mean? And those fucking things is like are $80+ million budgets. And to not even hear about that shit is ridiculous. But it makes sense because when you learn about how the money works at this moment in time, which is funny too, because this is all built on a fucking system built in fucking the 30s.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the internet even existed,
old
right?
and archaic.
Yeah, and so that's even funny when you think about it. Because
it's only now that the accountants are actually revealing themselves. You know what I mean? It's only at this point in age, which is fascinating because nobody gave a shit about any of this until very recently.
Till the streaming money
honestly,
came in, and like
even before that, within the last 40 years, like nobody cared about this until because you never heard of box office revenue until the late 80s, early 90s.
Right, and then it started the rental, and then everything trickled. You're 100% right.
But it's also too like that's the the business side is I've always told people one aspect. Just because a movie doesn't make money doesn't mean it's not successful. But all of this is marketing that you're explaining.
Well, so fucking. But here's what they want. Here's what if you were to like if you wanted to go to school right now, or if you wanted to go get like the PGA program or whatever, right? This is how you're gonna learn how to make a movie, or here's how you're gonna learn. Yeah, this is how you're gonna learn how to make a movie, right? You're gonna find a dude with an idea, not even a script. You're gonna find a dude with an idea, right?
Right.
That knows an actor.
Yep.
That's it. That's where you start, right? Like this dude's been roommates with a dude that's done a couple TV shows, right? And has some name for himself. So that's who you're gonna start with. You're gonna start with this dude who's never written a script, who fucking has a fucking idea and lives with this dude, right? So you're gonna take that and you're gonna go find yourself, maybe you went to Harvard with some dude that's a sales agent now, right? And you go to the sales agent dude and you're like, yo, look, man, we got this idea. Fucking, we already got homeboy to be in it. Like, I got my boy to do a poster. Like, go find us, go see what you can do. So this dude takes it over to Japan, China, fucking, Russia, all these places overseas, right? And sells this poster essentially with this actor on it, right? Sells all these pre-sales, what they're called pre-sales, to all these fucking things, these distributors overseas, right? Sells it, pieces it out,
right?
The whole thing, and then comes back and goes to the bank because this is the sales agent's bonded, right? So they go to the bank, and then they go, that pre-sale money that they already sold, the bank will literally give those people half in cash on the spot for that number, right? So now you can go make your movie. Right? But now you gotta find out what movie. That's the point. That's the fucking point, right? And so then you gotta find a script. And I mean, I've been using this example like crazy, more like Morbius, right? Jared Leto movie. This is like, I want to say $20+ million movie. Jared Leto said 2 weeks into the fucking shooting, they weren't even half done with the script yet.
Wow.
Like, this is a problem, right? And so this system is ass backwards, right? And so what I even thought of was like, okay, so cool. Say you go through this, say you do this all proper, quote unquote proper, right?
Sure.
You go through all these lanes.
You have the finished script, and you have
I mean, say you do the way I said is quote unquote proper. Right, to do the sales agent and all this
sales
shit,
agent
right?
to the guy.
So you do this, right?
Right.
And then you get, and it's your shit,
right?
And you have a good script, right? So that's the only difference in the story.
It's completely done.
But you make this movie, right? And so, but your shit's already pimped out, right? So now your shit is distributed, right? Because that's what everybody wants, is your shit to be distributed, right?
By a big guy, by a big company.
By a big guy that can get you on, let's just say for all intents and purposes, this guy's going to get you on Amazon Prime, Netflix.
Yeah, they're like
not Netflix. Netflix is a reach, but let's say
Pluto
Amazon Prime
or Tubi.
Yeah, let's say Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto. Let's just say those three, right? So you get on those three, right? Now everything you fucking worked for, everything you've put on there, fucking, you finally secure distribution and sales, and fucking, you're like, oh my God, I did that, right? Cool. Where can I see it? How can I find it? Why isn't it popping up?
Where is it? Why is it not immediate?
Why can't I not? I've scrolled through 300 pages now and I still don't see it.
Yep.
Why? What? So you're telling me you want me to fucking do this whole process now and fucking rely on all these fucking unions and pay all this money and jump through all these hoops and pay all these people that don't matter to the story, to the equipment, to the creativity process, to anything. You want me to pay all these people for me to wind up on a worse thing than fucking I was when I put it up on YouTube myself? I'm gonna get less views on your on what I'm not making money. And it's everybody's like, you're not making the money. Well, you weren't making money. Your fucking contract is bullshit anyway. You're making fucking at that point you're down to like 15%.
Yeah,
and that's of what your movie's generating, which is nothing.
On this hope or this idea that it might make something because it's on these, you know, and it's this weird, but even if your shifting is like less than 1%, why are you worried about it? You know what I mean? Like, why don't you just control it yourself in that? But, you know, I once talked to a guy too, he was like, you know, it's as easy as me flipping a switch.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm a guy who can get it on 120 countries. And I'm like, oh, that's great. But if some guy in Africa watches my movie, he's either going to need Tubi, or he's going to need the internet, or he's going to need something, you know. Yeah. So I understand both sides of the spectrum. That being said, you know, because there's a lot to unpack, always. Do I think that all movies and all projects are very much the same kind of thing? At this point in my life, no.
Right.
I did think that a long time ago. Like maybe like 15 years ago when, you know, YouTube was still kind of like an infant and all of this shit didn't really matter. Now, suddenly, it matters, right? So it's just like, you know, everybody can get their hands on, like my argument is everyone can get their hands on a Panasonic GH5 or an iPhone or a Blackmagic. Anyone can get their hands on Premiere and Resolve. The question is how far are those companies willing to push themselves until it becomes so like, you know, to where you can't even use Premiere anymore, you know? Because really, like, independent filmmakers, they're cranking out content, they're cranking out material, but like they're not getting any return on investments.
Yeah.
And the issue is right now with all of the streaming revenues, with everyone that SAG and WGA and the PGA are arguing with the AMPTP, you know, nobody's going to get paid at a certain point. I don't even think the big guys are going to get their money back because they're overinflating their budgets. And, you know, sure, they're putting it all towards marketing, so people are going to see the Marvel movies. They're going to see all these big fucking projects, but to every big project, there's all these little projects that are just kind of like orbiting around it, in a sense. You know what I mean? So they exist. It's just hard to find.
So there's a lot of things happening, though.
It's a lot to unpack.
But
you know,
so there's
really
big things in there, though. So there's two things, though. There's the little guy who we've convinced people is the good independent filmmaker. Like, there's a lot of them on Tubi, you know, and I'm not taking away from anybody, like, because I haven't made a movie, so I have no leg to stand on, but there's a lot of lazy fucking people, man.
No, absolutely, yeah.
That don't take the time to get perfect sound or like hire this person and like think, you know, and that's a lot of things. That's a lot of aspects to a good film. Like, I don't care what the content is. Like, it needs to have certain things, right? And like, there's a lot of Tubi shit, like all these other gangster movies, like that are like,
I've seen all right, yeah.
And it's like, but this, like, it's just, it's like there's a quality that's fucking missing. Period.
Yeah, of course.
And so for us to give way to that and like, you know, like I don't know, there's been a lazy aspect to where there's a big film, there's a big also, and so this is the other side of like our camp, the independent filmmaking side too. Is it's gotten a really bad fucking name.
Of course.
It's got a terrible name. And there's a lot of people that do this now all the time because it's a lot easier than it was.
Right.
And that feel really entitled. You know, to like stuff.
Yes.
And it's like, dude, your shit's not that tight. Like I said, the Tubi shit. Like, there's a reason that shit's not on Netflix. You know what I mean? Because there's specs. And I'm not saying the camera, that shit's by the wayside. Fucking, there's ways to get around that shit. Right. But I mean, like, as far as like audio compression, all these things.
Oh, absolutely.
That make the picture that we're ultimately talking about good. Like, some of them slip through the cracks. Like, there's some real shit on Netflix too.
Oh no, I've seen
like
it.
Of this quality.
I understand. But like,
but I'm just saying, like, that's our duty too, is to call these people out, like, as well. You know. Anyway, so like this, I'm just like, so you said. And then going back, so there's that part. So that's part, like, I'm trying to fucking change a little bit too. Like I said, I want to do Robert Rodriguez, right? Like, fucking,
well, yeah, because I want to talk about that too, because he inspired me as well.
So it leads to right here. It leads to it leads to what you said about the whole, like, you know, these, for every good movie with marketing, all these people get lost and like right?
Yeah.
So my fucking biggest thing is I want to be Rodriguez. Like, I got to figure out like what this guy did different, right? So I'm like trying to go. I went to this whole backwards fucking thing, right? And what I figured out, especially now, is that really like the movie isn't really the enough thing. Like just my movie, like isn't gonna be enough because like we said earlier, there's so many people that have made good movies. Like there's so many people that have tried to be Robert Rodriguez already, that have tried to be have made Clerks, you know, and somebody's done it. I guarantee there's a fucking really good movie out there that we've never seen and we'll never see, and fucking that guy deserves to fucking, or I don't know, I hate that word, but you know, should be someone and isn't. You know, that person exists, like 100%. And I didn't want to be that guy, you know? And so, like, also, I told you that whole other thing about, like, my whole, like, thoughts on distribution, on, like, falling in a sea of shit. Like, of not being seen, you know? And so, like...
You have this very punk rock image.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm taking that to the fucking grave, right? Like, that's my whole shit. And so, like, where I'm at with this whole Maker project shit is this fucking... The guys make a movie is, like, okay, like, A, I don't have the marketing money, right, to compete with anybody.
Sure.
I do have Long Beach on my back. You know, that's what I grew up on.
I definitely need to ask you about that too, by the way. Yeah.
And so it's a whole nother community down here. We're not film. They're not. It's not a film place down here. You
Which
know,
is weird because it's not that far.
No,
you know,
it's just we don't like bullshit. That's the difference. Like that's it. And LA people don't like it either. That's why. You don't. I mean, like, there's a difference between an LA person and a person that lives in LA. You know, like, and you don't meet locals. You don't meet that many locals out because they don't want to be. They don't want to be out out there, especially in Hollywood. That shit, man. Even being from Long Beach, in fucking over there, it's like, dude, I don't fucking.
What I usually say is there's a million people who there's like all those people who work for the system, and then there's a million people who just want to work. Yeah, you know. And when I shot my first feature, it was literally that. It was like, hey, do you want to be in this? And everyone was just like throwing themselves at the wayside, being like, oh yeah, no, I definitely want to. I want to be involved, you know, any possible way I can. And over time, you kind of see that, you know, at post-COVID world, now it's make or break for a lot of these guys. And it's really fascinating because it never used to be like that. And what bothers me, like what drives me nuts, is exactly what you're saying too. I mean, we're very similar in a lot of ways, you and I. And I'm just, you know, putting that together now because there's a lot to unpack with, you know, like from, you know, my standpoint of like having... I mean, I didn't get my bachelor's, but, you know, I did go to film school. I worked with those people. I've seen, you know, and this is all on the East Coast too, and I've seen what they do, and you know, the level of their work was at a certain point kind of bland, and, you know, it's kind of like, you know, even with hockey, right, where it's just like, you know, you phase yourself out at a certain point. You know that you can't go farther. You know, I knew personally that, okay, I can't stop on my non-dominant side, and my shot's only going to be so good, so I can't make the NHL, no way in hell. So I went to film school, and I actually got more out of that, and it became more of a you know, art as a weapon kind of thing, you know. And I've always said, you know, the love of the game, you know, the love of the thing, you know, it's like there is no more love of it. It died a long time ago because they're so in like just focused on trying to make a profit off of something, but in a lot of ways they're putting lipstick on a pig constantly, where it's just like that's not how it's going to go. And now this whole thing with, like, you know, Dan Schneider shit is coming out of the woodwork. You know, the 90s were just like this, you know, post-coke infused time where people were doing heroin instead of cocaine, and now forget it, everybody's high all the time because they just discovered marijuana again, you know. Well, I mean, so there's all this stupid ass shit that's floating out the existence where it's just, and I'm using that as an analogy, by the way, because like they're basically becoming very lazy. It's almost like stoner lazy, you know what I mean?
Well, technology needs abundance of money.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Like, because when you have everything at your disposal, you're like, what could we do with this? You could throw everything at the kitchen sink at it, but the fact remains is that even when people didn't have money, I think they were a little bit more innovative with how they got things done.
But they didn't, and but the technology wasn't there, and so it's this whole fucking
now thing. We have like, these tools at our disposal,
and it's out of control right now. With, like, you know, I don't have a problem with. I love the fucking term right now. They're calling me the nepo babies and shit. But like, I don't have a problem with nepotism, right? Like, why not? I get it because I mean,
do you think that it's two different markets, two different things
check
that you're
actually? Check it out. I have there's two sides to it.
I'm just curious.
Right? So I don't have a problem with it because I know that I'm working as hard as I can right now.
Right.
And fucking, I can't wait for one or both of my kids to fucking benefit from that. So for me to hate on that would be absolutely ridiculous. Right. Fucking, and so, but the other side of that shit is that I do understand though the negative like shit towards them, because there's some, and you know, it's just like everybody else, right? Like one fucking bad apple spoils the whole bunch, right?
Of course,
like,
yeah.
So there's these dudes that think that should carry them versus putting in the work.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus the ones that are just the kids that honestly just love what their parents do and fucking work as hard as their parents do to do that. I have no problem with that. It's more
about the work for you, right?
Yeah, like I look, you getting in the door, you had it way easier, like whatever. Like, you know, you're never gonna deny that fact. But again, like I said, if I didn't want that for my son, like I'd be a hypocrite. You know what I mean? But like it's 100% about the work, dude, because like I said, there's an abundance of fucking technology and money right now, and so it's all the people, the lazy people that I'm referring to, all the people that just think they fucking because they have a name. Like I have tons of examples, like crazy examples, but like they go, oh, okay, I have access to a robot arm, like, oh, and a fucking Phantom camera like this, like, oh, let's just fucking shoot Guardians of the Galaxy in all slow-mo, like, you know, make this shit 3 hours, like fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't need to do that. Like, you know, tell the fucking story. Like, support the story. Well, you know, show a bullet. Like, that's cool. Yeah. Like, that was cool in the Matrix. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But I don't need to see you eat food in slow-mo. Like, I don't need to see you...
Right. Just because you have all of the...
Oh, I don't need to see you look over in a slow-mo. Like, in a sea of a million other slow-mo. It just doesn't make sense.
You have the resources. You don't really need to throw everything at... Yeah,
make it make sense.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, you know, in a practical sense, like, what is it that drives you, you know, as a, like, why do you want to be a filmmaker? What is it that drives you? Because I mean, we're talking, because I mean, here's the deal.
It used to be wanting to tell a really good story.
Well, we're talking about a lot of these if we could just boil that down, you know, to something that's a little bit more concentrated, because I mean, really, because I love these cerebral conversations, but...
So it used to be wanting to tell a really good story.
Yeah.
That's how I got in there. I was like, oh, I can tell good stories. Like, oh, this is cool. But again, I'm from Long Beach, dog. We're fucking different. We do shit different. Like, period. Like, I don't know what it is. It's in the blood, the water. I don't know. Whatever. Fucking, so, you know, like I said, originally I went out there going like, oh, I'm just going to fucking do this, you know? Which is a great attitude, by the way. Like, it's kind of naive, though, too. It's kind of, you know,
punk rock, skateboarding, so, like, kind of thing, yeah. And but so, that's fucking...
But I got in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it worked to there, and like, but... to when I hit the, like, it's not the house, because that can always be changed. The rules can always be fucking bent, whatever. Like the whole, like, sales agent, our whole little conversation about that right now, right? When I learned all that, it's the house, right? It's the how Hollywood is made right now. How are these movies made? Like, how is the system working right now? That just did not sit right with me, you know? And like at the time, so I'm like, at the time, this was so this is a year ago now. I'd say this is not this last January, but
January 23.
January 23.
Yeah.
I wrote my first pilot, and then I just met this cool ass dude, dope ass director named Ray at the American Film Market. Right, he was like the only dude that I was like, I don't like these people, you know what I mean? So he was the only dude that I was like, this is a cool ass dude. Like, he's coming on, he's been in my baby shower, my second baby shower now. Like, you know, he's fucking part of the family and shit. Like, really cool dude. And anyway, just did all that shit. And like I said, the only guy that I could like even tolerate for a little bit, you know, and this is all because of the how, right? And so I just I wrote another movie. I wrote this shit in 4 days. I wrote the fucking pilot. So I wrote this pilot, and then I talked to Ray, and I'm like, I don't know what to do now. So he's like, just write another movie. So I wrote this other movie.
It took you 4 days to write it?
Dude, I wrote this thing in 4 days. Yeah, 3 days. 3 days the first draft. 3 days the first draft. I had a second draft out in 8 days. The next was 5 days after that.
Holy shit!
This guy was like, and this is what sold me to Ray. Right? Ray was like, damn, this fool does everything he says he's gonna do. Like, and so, and I sent it to him too, and he was like, this shit's actually pretty good. And so he's like, make it. So I was like, all right, cool. So you know, I wrote this one scene, and then my camera guy from homie from high school was like, yo, do you remember this homie from high school? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, he had mentioned this dude before. He was like, yo, he's you know, sold this spot in Texas, like blah blah blah. He has all this money. And like, he always calls me with these fucking crazy, just stupid ass stories. Like, I don't care about money, dude. Not like that. Like, when money's your only goal, man, like I don't really want to hang out with you.
I'm so glad you said that. Thank you for saying that.
There's a lot of, you know, I money's cool. I get it, you know, but if that's your goal, like, it's whatever. Anyway, so this, you know, it's all these stories, like, you know, fucking hookers and like all this shit and like blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't fucking care, you know. But I love that you think this guy's awesome. So so he's like, yeah, I got this dude online, like blah 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 blah. I'm like, all right, cool. So, you know, went the extra mile, like made a budget, made the fucking, you know, made the whole what the fuck you call it, the whole pitch deck, you know, like went the whole extra mile, because like at this point I'm just gonna do this shit myself, right? So I didn't have none of this shit because I didn't want to play the game. I was like, man, I did, but I was like, dude, this is and this whole pilot, this whole era, this was the whole spark, because my second was just born, and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta get my shit together. And this is second under, you know, my second baby in a year and 14 days.
No shit.
Like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot going on too. And so I'm in like, that time period. I'm
like, I gotta get my shit together. Okay, so all this is happening, right? And so I'm like, all right, so let's do this. And so I got this. I'm like, yo, Ray, like, come sit in with me on this Zoom meeting, like, make me look good, you know, because this fool's got his shit cracking, you know what I mean? I'm like, get this money for me, you know what I mean? And so this dude comes on the fucking line. He's like, oh, everything sounds good. You know, a couple weeks go by. And he's like, all right, solid budget. We're like, yeah, you know, let's do $100,000, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then just fucking gone. Ghost.
Right, of course. Right? Of course.
And what's funny is my camera guy, my buddy, who hooked it all up, right? Like, I asked him, I said, what happened? He's like, oh, I don't know. And then all this weird shit happened. So I was like, yo, man, like, you know, you said some things now to where I'm pretty sure you know what happened, because like, you know, I'm pretty good with people, right?
You can read into it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can take it, dog. Like, just tell me what happened, you know?
Oh no.
He's like, you fucked it up.
What?
And I said, what? He goes, apparently you sent a long text one day, and he knew that this wasn't gonna work. And I was like, but I said, so hold on. I was like, because I sent a text that he didn't read. You're telling me I ruined it, right? Because look, let's just put that in context, so, right? Yeah, what if the text said, hey, for every $1 you give me for this movie, I'll give you $1 million back?
Right.
What if it said that?
Right. Well, yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, what if it said that? And you're telling me I ruined it?
Yeah, to me, that's, exactly.
And so, and I'll tell you right now what the fucking text said, right?
But, like, who would say something like that, first of all? Because that's a little unrealistic.
Well, here's what's funny, is like...
But what does your text say?
Here's the first thing, is dudes, like...
He's into your idea. He wants to do it. He wants to actually...
dudes think that when I'm approaching someone that's gonna look for money, is gonna fucking kiss ass. You know, and I'm not. I'm a real person. Like, you know, I'm gonna approach you with respect. Like, that's a given. Like, I'll fucking approach you with so much respect. But I'm not gonna suck your dick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, for some reason, this whole industry is saturated with that. Where even the people that tell you they don't have the money, but the people that tell you that they know someone with money,
of course,
they treat you like you should suck their dick, and that shit's crazy to me, right?
It's a weird power thing.
Yeah. And so when these guys have
obviously never been to a fetish party in their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So so this dude's telling me I ruined this shit, like right? Because I sent a text, right, that this dude didn't read, which is so ridiculous. And so the text said somewhere along the lines of like, hey man, it's been a couple weeks. You know, and like, mind you, I pulled in this dude Ray, who I look up to, and I don't call in favors.
Yeah.
And I'm already having him sit at these fucking meetings where this guy's flaking on me, like, you know what I mean? And there's no money right now. Like, it's just all conversation. So I'm looking like a fucking moron.
Right.
So that's where I'm at.
Going anywhere.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all the future shit. And so far, between anybody at this fucking table, producer director fucking Ray,
right,
is the shit. And he's all I care about. You know what I mean? Like, I care about preserving that relationship, because he's he's taking the time to sit here with me.
Of course.
And like, and the more I do this, I'm going to look like a fucking idiot.
Right.
So I just sent a fucking text. I'm not like an asshole or nothing. You know, I just said, hey man, like, I haven't heard, it's been a couple weeks. Like, just for the, I'm very transparent. I'm like, I have Ray for Ray's fucking time and like this and that. Like we have to figure something out. Like, cause he kept pushing it back. Like, oh, I've talked to this dude. It's like, just tell me the fucking truth. I don't give a fuck, right? And so it's like, and I can't, and every time I tell that to Ray, that's what nobody else fucking thinks, right? Is all the shit you gotta fucking do in the middle, of course, right? Yeah. So every time I tell Ray, it's looking so every bullshit that I think is going on,
right?
It's 2 times to fucking Ray,
right?
Oh, this fool thinks I'm full of shit. I mean, he doesn't, but I'm just saying, like, the more that would go down, right? Like the bigger full shit.
Oh, you're not that serious, or you're not that interested.
Like I said, in all the, for all intents and purposes of preserving that relationship with Ray and not looking like a fucking asshole, especially after I just accomplished writing a pilot and a fucking feature in a week and a half. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not trying to throw that away. You know what I mean? So I fucking sent a text and I'm like, hey man, like, and I was very respectful. And I'm like, if this isn't going to happen, please let me know. Like, and it's not a big deal.
Did he ever?
Dude, I've never talked to this dude again.
Wow.
Right.
Oh
and so the dude that tells me I ruined it and like this and that, he even told me one time, he calls me up with this other dude, with this other director, and he goes, hey man, he's like, this guy might be interested in producing a script, like tell him about it, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I used to sell this dude mushrooms. Right? Like, I don't know how to put it. Like, I don't need to be on eggshells. Like,
so there's a reason why I named this podcast Guerilla Film Fam.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason is because, when I first moved here, I was working with a guy who I shot my first feature with. His name was Doug Birch, the best guy in Hollywood, the best guy in LA that I know of, that I knew of at the time, right? I've met a million great people since, right? But like this guy, he's like my mentor, pretty much like the closest thing I have to a father figure. So I basically was like, yo, I'll do anything with you. I just want to shoot something with you, and it was the attitude and everything. And he said the most important thing to me. He said, well, you're part of the family now. And I was like, what does that mean, And I had to like extrapolate that and think about it over and over and over again. And then it wasn't until a little bit after that where I was like, hey, can I borrow this? Can I use that? And he was like, anything you need. Yeah. Anything. It didn't matter, like if it was just a light stand or a camera, I was able to borrow it. So flash forward a few years later, I'm working with another guy, Kevin Welbeck, another great actor. He's amazing. I highly recommend him. He literally said, are we doing this, fam? And I was like, there's another guy. So it's starting to click, and you realize who the real people are when they step up. They have a positive work ethic, but they treat you as an equal, right. As opposed to stepping all over your ego and making you feel like dog shit. Yeah, and that's what I meant by competition earlier. It's because it's not necessarily.
But it's funny, but it makes them look. It doesn't make sense. But so like you look like the ass. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's one of those things where it's like, to me in particular, like I kind of boil it down to like, an essence of things where it's just like jokes on them. Yeah, because we're on this planet for a finite amount of time. If they're not willing to play ball because they're being dickheads, that's not my problem. That's not your problem. You are not beholden to other people's bullshit. Yeah. And their failure to plan is not an emergency on your behalf. So it's one of those things where it's literally like, going with the flow, but you might not be around for another month or 2 months. Yeah. And that asshole who's cherry picking you for info or whatever, who wants something from you just to take advantage of you, they might die tomorrow. So it's like, why are we being so childish? And it's all because we want to play in a fucking particular sandbox called filmmaking, right? And, we see all these people from examples that we use, like Scorsese and Spielberg and all these guys who were big in the fucking 70s and 60s and 70s. That doesn't exist anymore. Now it's mostly like everyone has access to this material, to these tools that we can create this art form and everything. So in a way, I've been thinking more about it in like punk rock, where it's just like, you can put out a thing, you can put out a video, but you know what though? Don't be so, what do you call it? Like, that video that you put out is not, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to be messy.
Right.
You know, and it's because it's a movie. Because film used to be celluloid.
Yeah.
And even that was messy. So now we have a little bit more glossy look to it, but we can still do whatever we want to it. You know.
Yeah.
And I talked to a bunch of people too. Like I was color correcting something for a buddy of mine who, you know, he admits he doesn't know what he's doing. But then you work on a music video for somebody else, and they don't know what they're doing, but they're not willing to admit they don't know what they're doing. Right. That is more of a curse, and that's where I see a lot of people's heads at, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, we want to make a movie, but we're not sure what it takes to make it, you know?
Yeah.
And I've worked with people's budgets to an extent. You know, if I like you, I'll give you the friends budget. If I don't like you, you're getting the corporate budget, you know? But like, again, for me, it's not about money either. But when I hear people go, oh, well, how much did it make? Or insulting you and comparing your movie with like 0 fucking stars, but grit, love, and tenacity, to a movie that had 0 grit, love, and tenacity, but nothing but stars. That shit drives me fucking up the wall too, man. So I feel you on all of this shit, because it's not easy doing what we're doing. And also too, it's like you're learning on the fly, but it's interesting because you're learning more about marketing, and I think that carries people a longer way. I think that's kind of where everyone's head's at, you know, right now, with like, oh, well, what's my return on investment? I'm like, sometimes you don't get one. Yeah. Sometimes you literally, like, it just doesn't work out that way, you know?
So check this out.
But it's fascinating.
I'm gonna intertwine everything like crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
So let's finish to tail into that last conversation, right? So I had, and this is like, you know, years prior, like when I was 30, that's like 11 years ago. That's when I was selling the mushrooms, right? So I'm selling this one director mushrooms. And so like, anyways, this is like now 10 years later, you know, my buddy, the same buddy who fucking told me I blew that shit, right? Blew that one fucking deal, calls me with this dude. He's like, yo, this director might want to fucking tell him, you know,
no shit.
Can you send him your script and like do that shit, give him the whole pitch, whatever. But again, like, I'm talking to this dude like a homie, because I used to sell mushrooms 10 years ago. Like, I've partied with this dude.
You
like,
know who he is.
Yeah,
you've seen him in his worst and his best.
Yeah, it's not like fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so dude calls me up after. He goes, hey man, or hey brother. I hate when people start like that. Like, if you don't talk like that, don't do that. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, I know something's weird now, you know?
Like, did he say bro or brother?
He said, like, he was like, hey brother. Like, I'm like, you don't, like I have friends that talk like that. Like, he wasn't one of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, anyway, I'm like, oh God. And he's like, hey dude, he's like, I just want to say, you know, you say fuck a lot, man. Like,
oh my God.
And I'm like, okay, well, 2 things. One, I have middle fingers tattooed all over me, right? Like, if you're not gonna hear it, you're gonna see it.
Of course.
I'm sorry. It's just what happened, you know, somewhere along my merry way. It got there, whatever. I'm passionate too, and I care about my shit, and I'm really good. So there's that too. But the second part of that is, y'all called me for a script.
Right.
I didn't call you for a script. I know we have to work together, but you are asking the artist for something at this point in time. Why are you treating me like I called you begging you for anything?
Yeah, exactly.
That shit's weird.
Yeah. And
so, you know, take that and the whole thing. Like, I don't know if you saw, I posted a thing on TikTok yesterday. I was just so angry, man. Like, I've been going through all these.
I actually haven't been on TikTok.
So I've been going.
I'm on there very seldom, just to post my own shit and then leave, to be honest with you.
I hit a boiling point. I was like, I gotta make a video. You know, and I feel like TikTok's the best place for like those videos.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've been, I just, reached out to some people that are in the real world, you know, real Hollywood, like like doing the PGA programs and all that shit, right? And like went to some like fun seeking funds kind of like boards and shit on Facebook, like you know, I'm a member of all these shits, like trying to, you know, just navigating however I can. Like, I know I have a really weird thing.
How are those working out? Like, do
terrible.
They actually,
so they're so stupid, they're so dumb, and like this is the point of that, is that like there's the money side of people on there, and then there's like creative side on people, right? But they're both on there doing the same shit. Nobody's got a fucking project,
right?
No one's got money either,
right?
Fucking. And so, but like, these people try to piss on you for just trying. you know, and that's the whole thing. And so back to this, what this project is, like, back to being the next Rodriguez, like, back to being the fucking guy, like, I have to set an example. Right, I can't fucking do what I want to do ultimately. Like, I would love to like have a studio, and I would love to like, and a studio to me is like a house. Like, I 4 rooms, you know, 2 rooms. Like, I'm not like, I don't need a fucking lot, you know. I don't need a huge lot.
It's something like simple and basic.
Yeah, but I just want to crank shit out all the fucking time, right?
Yeah,
and like, dedicated, I know there's more people like me, you know, that are dedicated and like down for it, and like, we can make this fucking work. But I have to show it first. I have to show the quality I want. I have to, you know, I have to make an example out of myself to hold as the like thing. Like, this is what we're doing. You know, this is what I'm about. This is what my thing's about. Like, And so, like I said, just making the movie is not going to be enough, right? And so that's why MAKEA was born, was because I thought it looked cool on paper. As far as like the guys make a movie, I couldn't in Long Beach, like, no one gives a shit unless you're about it, you know. And so I wasn't going to go around talking about making a movie either for 7 months. You know, that doesn't sound, that's not cool. That's not cool for anybody. Like, so it might be cool for one conversation.
It's like a call to action, basically.
Yeah, like, you gotta, so I gotta show some shit. And so in the meantime, I was like, all right, well, I'll start it off soft. Like, I started, so that's where the zine and the fucking, I have all these shirts right here. Like,
yeah, those are really cool, man. I like how you already have the merch.
Well, so it's
fascinating,
well,
too.
So this is all, this is all the, well, hold on, you gotta hear, this is crazy. I'm gonna blow your mind.
I got a million questions.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm gonna blow your mind right now. So the whole point of this shit is to fucking, like I said, to set an example. I'm on some new shit. Like, I want to start some new shit. And fucking, I have a distribution deal on paper. I have 2 of them I could sign and get tomorrow, you know, without the movie being made already. Like, I have that, you know. I don't want that shit. I don't want distribution. Like, look, and I'll settle for it. My ego's not that big. Trust me. If my plan fails, I'll fucking sell this shit. But what I'm aiming for, because, again, if I do get a distribution deal and just land amongst the wayside and you never see my shit, right? Why am I not going to try my hardest? At least if I'm gonna land up there anyway. If I'm gonna wind up there anyway, why not try my hardest in doing it my way first?
It's about integrity,
right?
Basically,
I mean, it's about. Look, it's about the same results. It's about the same results. If I'm gonna have the same results and not try my hardest to like get around it, then that's almost failed. You know
what
like,
I mean by is like quality material that you're putting out independently.
So
that's all about the art form,
right? Well, sort of. Like I said, like I have a bigger plan though too. Like I do. It does have to be a business at one point. It does have to turn into a thing. Like I do want to create a viable business out of this, but I want people to win on a whole different level. Like I'm not trying to I'm not trying to give all our money away either. You know, because of the abundance of technology and because of the abundance of money and because of the abundance of fucking the internet, you know, the internet exists. So the whole thing is to create this whole thing, MAKEA, as right now I got these shirts, right? And what I'm doing is everything is free, right? Online. And so I do it every other week. It's a limited edition drop. There's only 3 shirts available. After that, they're gone forever.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
And so if I do it consistent, I'm hoping people catch on more and more every week. I start dropping some movie shit behind the scenes, fucking like trying to kind of bring these people along the movie making journey with me. So like kind of turning this whole thing into a brand versus a movie.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say that.
And so then I have these people coming to the website for free shit. Right, you get anything you want. You get for $11. As long as you pay $11 for shipping, right, you can get whatever you want. Right, so that's the whole thing. So 16 drops, 32 weeks. I want to premiere the movie on September 13th online.
Oh, okay.
Right, video on demand on my website, distributed through me for $3. Right, and so when these people come for the 17th drop, expecting these clothes to be there,
they'll also see a movie.
Well, no, that's all they'll see. There won't be any clothes. It'll just be my movie.
So the merch leads to their product.
And
I see.
This $11 that I've got you fucking conditioned to fucking you've been spending. I haven't got you conditioned. That sounds terrible. Fucking
yeah, I know what you
mean.
Like
people are used to spending $11, right? At minimum, people donate too. So you might be spending $30 every time you come to my site. I don't know, but I'm hoping that you spend the $3 and watch my movie. And I'm also hoping that you're expecting the quality that I'm expecting you to be expecting, which is shit. I'm hoping that you think I'm in the camp of all those to-be people that I was talking about, the people that have gotten lazy, that fucking cut a little extra corners to fucking just get a product up. Well, I'm trying to be here. I don't want to leave. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's what I'm doing. And so if you can get,
I get it.
And so I'll start there.
Yeah.
You know, and I figured out how to get an AMC. You know, like
four walling kind of thing, or like, what do you mean?
Like the local theater. It's called Marine Pacifica. Like, it's the big. You can get it. I mean, you can get in there for a weekend. Yeah. You just think it's just an app. I mean, it's pretty easy. You know.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just getting people to that, or like it's just creating demands, or like this is this, and like this and that, and like I said, I'm just going. I'm force feeding this shit. Like, you know, I'm doing the fucking street art shit. Like, I'm going wheat pasting. Like, I fucking have this zine out there. Like, I have stickers. Like, you know, the shirts. Everybody's like, oh, it's really free. It's like, yeah, dude, you're fucking wearing the name of my movie, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you're self-promoting.
It's all getting out there. And
that's fascinating.
As of right now, like, I mean, the word's out there, dude. Like, there's a lot of people wearing this shit. You know, when
did you pick up on all of this marketing strategy kind of stuff? Was it because of the class that you did, or was it
when I was in high school, dude? I went to. You ever seen Freedom Riders?
Yeah, of course.
That was my high school, right?
Oh, that was your actual high school?
Yeah.
Wilson. No kidding. Yeah. Makes sense.
So where that movie ends, basically, that ends, my 9th grade begins, right?
Oh, wow.
Like, and so Bill Clinton in 96 fucking stepped in and was like, oh, gang shit's out of control. Like, I'm going to start this shit called Classical High School, right? Like, it was this big program, and they started it at my high school. Just for my high school.
Interesting.
The only fucking high school in the whole fucking country that wore uniforms at public school. Oh, wow. And it was only 9th grade to start, right? So it's just 9th grade. And so by the time I was a senior, then everybody's wearing uniforms, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I get to 12th grade, and I'm working for this local record company called 7-7, who was like a sister company to like Skunk Records, and like Long Beach Dub All Stars was starting to like blow up. Like, Sublime was dead. Long Beach Dub All Stars was about to be the first band signed to like DreamWorks, which is when they started doing shit with like Black Eyed Peas. Like, shit got crazy like a year or two later. But like around this time, I'm doing these things called block schedule, and I get introduced to screen printing, and we're all wearing uniforms, right? And we have these really long fucking classes, like hour and a half. And these people would start. I just run with shit, man. Like, I can't just be like, okay. Like I said, I have to like be bigger. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's like this self-drive, this self-motivation thing.
Yeah. So I started a brand in high school instead of just doing like a fucking print. Like, I was like, oh, I want a brand, right? So I started this brand, and I would have, dude, sooner than later, I had all these kids like taking water breaks and piss breaks, and they would throw their shirt in the back door. And my teacher honestly let me do that for the rest of the semester. I didn't do anything else because I loved it. And so these dudes would throw their shit in, and this became like your way to stand out in all these uniforms, right? So that was high school, and then high school ended, and I still did that shit, right? So I was playing hockey, I was traveling, so I could get it in like other states and shit, like on a small level. And then I was doing all the music shit, right? I was involved in all the music shit. Yeah. Because I was working for this company. Like, fools thought you were fucking like tight, you know, and like all these bands were like giving me shit. Like, I hated the music that was coming out at that time anyway. And it was a mess. But there was a couple bands. Like, I was like, dude, I was fucking I had a couple skaters I was sponsoring. Oh, like, wow. Because I knew how to do this shit for nothing. Like, I would go to LA. I was paying fucking $17 for a dozen t-shirts. And then my homie was printing them for $1. So,
oh, that's amazing. You made a killer profit
for $25. Well, I didn't care either.
Well, that's the thing
about money,
right? I'm not saying it like that, but you know,
like all these like events, like all the skating events, all the surfing events, like all the music events. And I would just give them out.
Yeah. Like, so you're not breaking the bank to make these shirts to promote your thing.
So then I get a phone call. Like, all this is just timing, right? So like, then I get this phone call. And they're doing, at the time, it's old school. Old school just comes out with Will Ferrell, right? And MTV is doing all the promo for them.
Wow.
And what they do is they're getting all these, they're going to all these frats in Long Beach. And they're doing all these frat parties because that's the movie, right?
Sure.
So they're going to all these frat parties in Long Beach and doing all these fucking specials. And I get a phone call and they're like, dude, you got to come down to MTV. Want you to sign a bunch of papers and shit. And my shit was everywhere, right?
Wow.
The fucking clothes were everywhere in that shit.
No way.
So it was on MTV that summer. The dude from Double All Star he was doing all my tattoos. And that was when tattoos just started blowing up. Like they became pretty much mainstream like a year later. But like not zines but actual magazines were a big thing for like 2 years, which was weird. And then and it was like super big, and everything that was big here was really big in Japan. Like I can't explain that shit, right? But this shit fucking blew up. Like I said, like the dude doing my tattoos was doing shit with Black Eyed Peas that year. Like this shit just blew up, and this fool's wearing my shit. And so crazy. Like my shit got everywhere for like a fucking year, dog. Like everywhere.
That's nuts.
Off of nothing.
Yeah.
Off of $28 for a dozen t-shirts printed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like fucking, so
that's crazy.
So I just figured it. I was just like, okay, so going into this whole thing, I was like, okay, that's what I don't know how to do it, but I know how I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, how can I apply that without veering too far from making this movie thing,
right? You
know what I mean?
Because on one hand you're basically it's like a weird detour, but you're making it work for you. Yeah. And it's also too like that's what Robert Rodriguez was saying in Rebel Without a Crew. That's what everyone talks about, is how do you market your shit. Like it's one thing to, I mean, you were talking about every project needing an LLC in Big Boy universe, but like for our universe, I mean, this is kind of akin to that in a way, but like you're not putting out an LLC for it. You're basically you're starting with a home base and you're growing that, and eventually now it's to a point where you have the MAKEA brand. Because I mean I'll be honest, like I'm more intrigued by that, and I still don't even know your actual real name. And it's one of those things where like that I don't even think that's necessary. No. Because this is a team thing, dude.
That's why.
Well, it's
sort of. I do everything.
Well, even the record thing makes sense too, because when you worked for a record label, that all makes sense, because all of this, like I've been filming bands for years, and if there's one thing I could recognize, it's their product placement,
street team shit.
That's
where I started. That's where you start,
and that's the thing, man. So you're doing what you know, and you're growing it from there, and that's crazy too, because most filmmakers, they don't think about that. That is like third.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not even secondary. I
gotta be the guy, dude, and I gotta fucking do everything possible to be the guy. Like I said, like,
and you're just essentially it's just getting started.
And like I got a homie that came over yesterday, and I'm not no names, nothing like that. I'm not trying to talk shit or nothing. Like I'm not trying to talk shit on dude or nothing. It was just like, dude, especially where I'm at right now working on this project, like I'm on some shit, dude. Especially like I said, I had a heart procedure 3 weeks ago.
You have real life problems.
I had fucking 2 babies in a year. Like, dude, I'm going and working as hard as I do, dude. I'm fucking killing shit, dude. I'm doing it. Actually, I might not be killing it. I'm fucking doing it though. Like that's what no one can take away from me. I'm doing this shit, right? And so
you're motivating it yourself to keep going.
Yeah. And so the homie called me and he's like, hey man, like, I put out some new tracks. Like he saved a lot of money, like right? Wants to know like how to fucking. I'm like, you want, because he's like, I want to do merch, like I want to do all this stuff, and I'm like, well, actually, I'm in the middle of this big fucking thing. Like, I'll give you my best, like, on what, just some guidance or something on marketing, because I'm pretty good at marketing as a whole, but like, I'd like to lead people there. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give you a different way to think about shit. So that you can be the best version of yourself or whatever, whatever you're working on. Like I really do love people succeeding. Like that was the cool thing about my first podcast I was telling you about. As I told people that came on, I'm like, yo, and it's good luck. That's what, if you're on my podcast, it's good luck. And it fucking was, dude. Like, fools would get work within 3 weeks of being on my shit. It was weird.
That's crazy.
And it was fucking awesome. And like, because I really do have those intentions. Like, I'm really not full of shit. Like, I do want you to win. Because if you win, I win. I am selfish. You know what I mean? Fuck, like, sue me. I don't care. Like, whatever. If you winning and me winning isn't like, if you have to win for me to win, and that's selfish, like, I'm fuck, you know, whatever. I don't know what to fucking tell you. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't even know where I was going.
Your buddy came over and he's, you know, showing you some tracks.
So he goes, oh, I spent all my money, like, you know, I got all these, like, did all these things, like, you know, spent all this money on production, right? And he's like, how do I get it out there? And I'm like, I don't fucking know how you get it out there. Like, what are you doing different? You know, you're doing music. Like, what do you do different? Like, you're putting out music in this genre, in this sub genre anyway. 15 years later, everybody's doing that. Like, what are you doing different? You know? And he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna hire some people to go to festivals and pass out a QR code. And, you know, and it's like, well, I go, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not gonna work. Like, I go pass out QR codes all day on the street, and like, you know, hit or miss.
That's so funny.
You know, and he goes, oh, but you're doing film, right? And so I said, okay. So I grabbed a QR code, right? Yeah. And I put 2 QR codes in his hand. I said, which one goes to music and which goes to film? And you can't tell, right? You don't fucking know.
Exactly.
Like, it's just a fucking QR code.
What does it mean? Yeah.
So
it could be a menu.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? And so, like, and then you go even that, take a step. I told him to take that a step further. So if you're going to a festival and you're obviously going to a genre specific festival, probably, right? Like, that'd be your best bet.
Right.
So you think you're the only person passing out, now you're passing out QR codes, but now you think you're the only one passing out QR codes?
Right.
And then now you have a pocket of these fucking things, right? Why is this person going to scan yours amongst 20, 30, 40 of these things? Maybe they were there for the whole weekend. Now they got 80 stickers in their pocket. Wow. What's yours? What's different? You know, And he's, you know, it's just like, that's the thing, and it's exactly what you're talking about. Like, the filmmakers just we rely so much on our creativity, which was cool, which was great before the internet. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people like. It's the internet changed everything.
Yeah,
and people can see shit now. Now there's now I guess you have competition as far as getting seen. You don't have competition as far as like the stuff, the content, but the content to get it in front of people. You have competition, but that's a good thing. Not all competition is bad. Like, you have to work harder, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, because if I can pull this shit off, like this thing, like, I'm gonna do this forever, and I'm gonna do this for other people.
Yeah, it's like a weird double-edged sword, where on one hand it's like a defense mechanism, you know, and on the other hand it's actually motivation, where it's just like, really, like, you know, you can look at it as like a thing that really, you know, I don't want to think about the negative aspects of one thing, so I'm just gonna put it away for now and come back to it later, and you never do.
But I mean, it's such an immature way of thinking.
Oh, like, for sure.
That's like saying, like, you're.
But that's
how I'm going to take a nap instead of taking out the trash.
So many people do that enough times,
and you still, now your house is full of trash.
So many people do that. You know, you've seen hoarders. You know, like, it's the same shit. And that's the thing, though. It's like, maybe they're not willing to deal with themselves. Maybe there's some aspect within themselves that's deep rooted that they're just not getting. You know,
I mean, like,
and I understand where you're coming from on all aspects of this. It's
excuses are so easy. Dude. Excuses are so easy.
1000%.
You know, and that's why.
Do you ever feel like you make an excuse for not being able to shoot something?
No, I don't make excuses, dog, because fucking, like, that's just me.
Well, is it like, there's a life thing, I can't do this, or is it as simple as that? I'm only asking for the listeners.
Let's just, like I said, I just had a heart procedure, like legit heart procedure, right? That was 3 weeks ago, okay? Fucking in the last 4 years, let's see, my uncle fucking killed himself. My dad is dead. My sister's dead. Fucking my aunt's fucking dead.
So you got nothing else. This is 4 or 5
years. Like, I don't. Shit happens, dog. That's the fucking point. Like,
right.
These things are all things that are gonna happen in life. Like, we can make excuses for everything. I could make an excuse to fucking cancel this podcast today. Like, my kids crying, more than he was. Both of them are crying more today than they were.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
We can make excuses for everything,
right?
Because they're easy. They're fucking easy,
right?
And that's the thing. Nobody wants to do the hard part. Nobody. even the filmmaker that you were talking about that could fucking, you could fucking think about quitting, and you could, because it's easier. It's easier than making a movie. Making a movie is really hard. Like a full feature, this shit is really hard. This is the fucking hardest thing I've ever done. Like,
I've
especially
been there.
And even getting to the point of making this shit is fucking, like, I've done hard manual labor. Like, I've done I've been in, I don't know, just shitty worlds. Like, I've seen nasty, terrible things, fucking, done hard labor, like, done the grimy shit, everything. And fucking, this is when this whole process, like, mentally
keeps you going.
It was hard. It's been hard. And that's the big thing too, is because knowing that I've been on red carpets, not knowing that where I was or, anything, because I was so young, right? And then now just kind of feeling like I don't belong, in this fucking money sport, and like all these dudes, like, I just fucking, that's what came to the whole thing, was that I was waiting for someone else to make my dreams come true, and to this, I just couldn't do that anymore. So, like I said, after the second kid, it was just like, dude, that's what's happening right now. I'm waiting for another fucking grown man to fucking make my fucking dreams come true. And I have to tell and at what point am I going to have to tell my kid this story?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Right. At what point am I going to have to tell my child, my son, that dad waited, around for some other dude to make his shit come true? Like,
I always tell people to just have to actually go out and take it and just do it yourself. And, a lot of times too, it's like that'll actually bring people into the fold, like that's how you actually, like, when it's the collaborative process, that's usually what they mean by it's just like, oh, well, we just started making it and then this guy showed up and then this guy showed up, man.
It's energy.
And it's also too, like, I mean, because I've worked on stuff. I mean, I Destination Hollywood was a weird little project that kind of went through these weird ebb and flows where, like, guys wanted to do it and then all of a sudden didn't want to do it anymore. And I think a lot of it was like the pressures that they put on themselves just to need to survive, which I'm like, dude, like, we're all doing shit jobs. Like, we're all doing things we don't want to do in the interim to get to where we need to be. And, most people they don't really, either they don't think about that or that's secondary to everything else, know. And I know where you're coming from, because I'm in the same boat with the whole, like, all I want to do is just make these fucking movies, and like, if there's one or two ideas that I have, which I know that there's a few of them that I just want to be able to do it just for the sanity that I did it, so that when I'm dying one day, I'm like, oh, I didn't do that, oh no, what the fuck, so it's just like, it's life is too damn short, and also you gotta just do it yourself if you want the results. And then when people hear that, they go, oh, well, I could, like, I'm looking at your Godfather painting right now, and anybody could probably be like, oh, I could do that. And I'm like, but could you though? Could the strokes be the same way? Could you use the same color palette and all this other shit? So in a lot of ways, like, this is a very hands-on art project that anybody can do. But on the other hand, though, it takes motivation, it takes a drive, it takes the unique kind of ideas to make it happen.
You got to run to the end zone, man.
You got to keep going. I mean, because, like, trust me, I've thought about numerous times, anytime, like, the idea of, like, quitting comes up to me, I'm just like, well, you could, but you're not going to, because what else would you be doing? I don't want to be micromanaged at a fucking restaurant my entire life. I don't want to have to do a job that I'm going to regret, like my mom did, or any of that shit, so yeah, the ebbs and flows of life, they're difficult, but you manage and you find ways to do it. I mean, I'm more interested in, like, just what makes a certain person like even with what they put out, right? Like, let's say, like social media is secondary, right? But, like, it's an area for you to kind of, like, create the playlist so that when you put out your big movie, you have an area to promote your other thing on, right? I'm just now figuring that out. I'm fucking screaming at myself, because I could have been doing that. Like, it just occurred to me the other day to start posting the videos that when I shoot at the whiskey, start posting those. And I'm like, I've been doing this at there for fucking 7 years on and off. Why did I never think about that? And I always thought, well, because they're a business, shouldn't they be putting their own shit out? They're not going to put that shit out. Nobody cares. And nobody gives a fuck about anybody on that stage, unless you were the Doors,
No one cares about you, period.
Nobody cares about anybody. Nobody cares about the fact that they can't see me now on that fucking fucking camera because it shut off. I don't really care. That's why this one's pointed at you. Well, that's the thing, though. Yeah,
that's the point. That's the whole point. Is like, no one fucking cares. No one cares when I tell them, hey, I'm gonna make a movie, right? No one cares. No one cares. My fucking best friends don't care because they're doing something too.
Everybody's doing
something, right? And my shit's not real until it's on Netflix or until you can see it at the movies, right? Like, that's the only thing
that
makes it fucking real.
Yeah, basically.
And like, until then it's just a fucking, like, it's just a hobby. It's just you shoot, this dude shot something, it's done tomorrow. That's as easy as it is, right? So it's all super easy. It's all da-da-da, but it's like, dude, no. This shit is a fucking whole thing. Like, I don't know, man. It's just so discounted in one way. It's so overhyped on another way. And like, I just want to, I don't know, the best... I'm trying to start like a cool ass record label right now. Basically, like, I'm trying to fucking start a dope.
Did we talk out of just doing a movie and go into record?
Sort of.
Wait,
sort
what?
of. It's
No.
the same shit. It's like, I don't know, man. I always equate it to other shit because like the vibe, like just the whole vibe and the whole thing I'm going for. It's like,
well, it's art, right? It's kind of, you know,
like I'm starting a record label that was like you like you look in the like mid '80s, right? Like anybody who blew up, like with a new sound, like Beastie Boys, like Sublime, like Chili Peppers, fucking, it's like Snoop, fucking Too Short, like all these dudes that just kind of had a unique sound. Like, they all push shit out of the trunk. They fucking started shit out of the basement, like,
right,
making shit, recording their own shit, putting it, you know what I mean, like pushing it.
Well, there's a reason you have there's a reason you have a gorilla on your shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason why it's part of your logo. So I'm like
starting the new label right now. Yeah, like, I'm starting the new label. Like, I'm finding the new artists. Like, I'm finding the new sound.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's essentially,
I have to cut my first album first.
Yes,
for people to follow me.
I got you. It's you're using the record business as a metaphor, but what you're really doing is actually,
no one's done what I'm doing. No one's doing what I'm trying to do. Like, everybody's done a piece of what I'm doing, but no one's like.
Well, they have. It's called movie studios, which is
sort of
essentially what you're putting out. I mean, what you're talking about,
but they're not this cool.
Right? Exactly. They're lame cucks. They're lame cucks who are all about the money and who are willing to sell their firstborn for a taste of something. But like, let me ask you this though. Like, in that sense of things, where it's just like, building a brand to kind of create a hub network for artists, essentially, right? Yeah. Have you ever thought about, using festivals as a launching point for some of your stuff?
Oh, of course. I'm an independent filmmaker.
But you know what I mean, though. Because we're talking about like
I could pull up a list for you of all the film festivals I've ever submitted to. It's extensively long, and I've gotten like 2, and it's a fine line.
But even those they're fucking pity contest bullshit.
Look. Film festival shit's a fucking scam. Hollywood's
absolutely.
Everything's a fucking scam. Hollywood's a fucking scam. Film festival shit's a scam. Fucking, you can start a festival right now. Go online. You start a festival.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an online screening, which will cost you $100 to put on. Yeah. And you can charge $70 a submission. You can only pick 2. You can pick 2.
Yeah.
If you want, you could do anything because it's your fucking film festival, right? And there you go. That's rent for the year. I mean, so if you can multiply that on how many fucking film festivals are out there, and like and then don't get me started on like, I'm a weird, like, I'm a ethnically ambiguous looking dude, and so when all of those things started going down, like all these fucking other film festivals, like catering to certain ethnic groups and shit, right? Like, I jumped on the train. I was like, oh, dope, finally. But like, I'm gonna use my family name Sandoval fucking to get in this shit, right? And fucking, I wasn't brown enough. It's, you gotta tell immigrant shit. Like, you gotta fucking tell these racist ass stories that for some reason are equated with everybody that's got your skin tone, which is just the most asinine racist shit you could think of. It's like,
I'm glad you brought that up. They create
this fucking whole fucking racist bubble and they preach fucking equality, and it's like, dude, you guys are pushing your own people out so fucking far away.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I thought it was just me.
Oh no,
so there's that
aspect to it. I mean, there's that fucking whole thing, and then I don't know. And then the other thing is like, if any decent festival is now completely political,
right?
You know, you have to know someone to get in, or you have to be someone to get in, which I don't understand. Like, my whole dream growing up was, you know, wanting, or, you know, when I started renting movies as like a kid, like that was my first babysitter, was fucking those Broadway video, you know, going to rent movies, like, and fucking my whole shit was like, oh dude, I could do, like, if I ever I didn't want to be a filmmaker, but I know for some reason my whole life I always wanted to have a movie in Sundance, which is weird to say that out loud. I never even thought about it like that. Never wanted to be a filmmaker when I was a kid. Always wanted a movie in Sundance. That doesn't even make sense.
It's because it's because your stepdad there. It's because that guy, that father figure you had, probably.
I don't know what it was. It was my mom. That was my mom more than anything. Because she was all about the fucking indies, man. She was all about that shit.
Yeah, you're growing up in SoCal in the height of that shit. You know, they're probably shooting a whole bunch of independent movies in LA at that time.
Oh man,
you know. I mean, that's what's beautiful about your whole story, and what's wild about your whole story is that you're here the whole time. You know, it's not like you're not a transplant. That's me. You know, you're not having come here and been like, whoa, what is this world? You know, where do I meet your leader and all this other bullshit? You know, because like really here, it's like you've had, I don't know, it's just the influence and the resources at your disposal that just kind of like allowed you to kind of like, I guess for lack of a better term, kickstart, right, your ambitions and go for it and actually fucking push all. But like, that's what's fascinating about it too, and that's kind of what I want. You know, that's the thesis of this whole thing. You know, that's what I want to encourage people, is that, listen, man, life is fucking hard. Stop making it harder. Go for your shit. Do your fucking thing, because it's all about what you want in the end.
It's always going to be hard. That's the thing. Like I said, excuses are so easy, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, life is just the hardest thing on the planet.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, dude, having these two kids, man, I mean, fuck, dude, as a director, as a filmmaker, it's terrible, dude, sometimes, man. Like, honestly, like...
Oh, no, I get it.
You think about the worst shit, like, ever.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking, like, one small thing happens, and you write a whole movie for that thing. And
I was going to say, like,
child, dude, it's crazy.
Like, where do you start in terms of, like, I mean, because you have all the cool... You have a cool workspace. You know, what is it for you? Like, would you rather forego... the type of camera for better audio, you know, is it something like
absolutely
that? Yeah,
absolutely. So, audio is more important than the camera, I feel like.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Like, you can shoot on
that's how
anything.
I think too.
You can shoot on anything.
Oh, dude, you got to see this phone footage.
And if the fucking I started plugging my hard drive in and shooting on log on my fucking iPhone, man.
It's the best.
But,
dude.
No, like, you can shoot on anything.
Yeah.
If the sound's good, you'll never question it, you know. But if you could shoot on the most expensive camera, and if the sound's fucking shit, you lose everything. So it's very interesting.
A lot of people don't know that, you know. And
like, I have a part. There's a part in my movie, right? And the guys make a movie where. This movie is about making a movie, but like, I broke all these rules. Like, I never wanted to make a movie about making a movie, because no one gives a fuck about making a movie. Like, no one cares about everybody thinks, you know, it's a whole thing. Like, no one cares. So I had to walk this fine line where, like, I didn't want to be industry at all. Like, it's not an industry movie. Like, there's no industry terms. Like, you know, a couple dudes in the movie have a foot in there. Obviously, they're fucking 40, still trying to make a movie. You know what I mean? But for the most part, like, nobody, because they're all from Long Beach, right? So most of the friends aren't fucking in the film world in this movie. And so there's a couple of people who are always, you know, the outside forces always like, oh, and so when these guys sit down and start making this checklist of shit they need, you know, it's a very basic checklist, and sound is a big thing, right? And I think it's more expensive in as far as this movie goes, right? In the script, I think sound is probably the most expensive thing, and because they already have the cameras and everything, right? That's usually what happens, right?
Sure.
Even if you did have the sound, you still need someone to fucking do it,
for sure. So you go through this whole thing of like, oh, we need the proper thing.
So they're going down this list, and they're talking to, you know, there's two dudes that know nothing about film, right? And so they're like, oh, sound. And the guy's like, dude, why do you need to spend so much money on sound? And he's like, dude, you need good audio. And when the guy says the line, well, what constitutes as bad audio, right? That line is going to be in shit audio. right? And then it'll go back into perfect, and the guy will go, "Oh, you'll know when you hear it."
You'll know when you hear it. Yeah.
So
it's
like,
almost like, I mean, I love the approach, man, because it's truly a film school movie.
Yeah.
It's truly, but like, you know what though? I mean, it's, you know, everything that you're putting into this, and just kind of having fun with it and making fun of the scenarios.
It's a ghetto Naked Guns comedy.
I fucking love it, dude. I love the idea. You guys just started shooting this, right?
Yeah. So
how's it going?
It's going good, man. We got 4 days. We've done 4 days.
Nice. How many more days do you have left?
Probably 8.
Okay, that's not bad. But you're doing this on weekends, right?
Just whenever
you can. I'm the same way too. Have you ever like gone a month and not shot anything on this thing yet, though, or you're not
on this movie?
Yet?
Yeah. So we did the first. So this, I mean, everything's gone to shit, right? So
that's what I mean by.
So we shot the first. So we shot this first one. We shot the first scene. We shot a scene. The plan was to shoot this fucking scene. It was on March 26th, right? The plan was to shoot that scene, send it to my post sound guy. Like, he'll get the sound design done, like get it cracking, right? Get everything good. We get this scene up, go take it to a couple buddies, try to get some money, because they don't even know what that shit looks like. Like, they don't even understand that. So I got to show them, right? Can't tell them. I was going to start do the indie campaign, like all this stuff, and have this scene, right? Kind of sell the thing. All went to shit. Sound guy is fucking booked to shit till fucking next month, which is fine, because he's still gonna work on the feature. That's my most important thing.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, okay, so whatever. I gotta pivot, right? Yeah, I gotta pivot, like whatever. So that happened. The camera guy that I used for the first one is really fucking expensive, man, and honestly, I can't afford it. So I'm shooting myself now, like now I'm shooting it all.
What are you shooting it on?
The Blackmagic 6K.
Okay, cool.
Which is gorgeous.
It's not the pocket one, right? It's the actual.
The pocket. No, I don't have the pro. I don't have the pro. I got
but the pocket's great. The pocket's amazing. I love that thing.
You
can import the LUTs right in there. It's beautiful. Yeah, that's cool, man.
And then so
you're shooting it yourself on the 6K.
Yeah, and that's
you're editing it yourself.
So if in a perfect world, I'll like do a rough cut and then give it to somebody that somebody's done. But if I don't find any money between now and then, yeah, I'm doing everything but the sound. I definitely have to have the sound done.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you have like resources like lavs and stuff like that? Well,
I mean, I had a sound. No, I got I hired. I got a good sound guy for everything. But I mean, like as far as post goes, like I want like straight sound design. Like I want the shit. Like I want footsteps. I want fucking bags.
Yeah.
I want chip bags. I want the whole.
All the Foley, all the design 100%. Work. Yeah, no doubt.
My dude's good too. Like he's really good. I worked with this dude for a while.
Nice. Okay.
And then
I might have to pick your brain about that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm
But that's
ready.
cool though, dude.
And this movie, I mean, really, it's about a dude that turns 40, right? And on the night of his birthday, it says it's a cokehead, a fucking alcoholic, a pothead, and a sober dude. Like those are the 4 friends, the 4 horsemen that make the movie go around, right? And the director's the cokehead, 40-year-old, and it's his movie. He turns 40, and his wife tells him, like, look, dude, you got a year to basically make your fucking movie, or you got to get a real job. Like that's a real job.
I love it. Yeah.
And so that's pretty much the movie. So they sit in the garage.
I know people who that's their life.
Yeah, and they scheme. So they sit in the garage and they scheme up with ways to come up with money. Crazy ass ways to make money to make a movie.
Oh my god!
And so we show all the ways. So like that's the fun part. Like
that's so great.
We blew up that trailer. Fucking, they started a cult. They do so all this shit and all the shit from the zine too. It's all related too. That's the thing, dude. My shit's gonna be Inception like crazy. So these fools are wearing the shirts in the fucking movie, the MAKEA shirts, right? Some of the shirts like are featuring scenes that they're wearing. The fucking zines, right? I have How to Start a Cult, like Breaking Bad in real life, like all the shit. Same shit in the movie, man. Fucking, they start a cult, right? Wow. They fucking,
that's so
they cook and sell meth. Fucking, it's all fucking. It's either personal frustrations or shit from the movie, and
fantastic.
It all works together, and it all is related through the Guerilla.
I love it.
Which is how I found you.
That's so great. And it's weird in how, on how full circle all of that really is. I mean, it's kind of like a weird way, destined kind of to, like that we actually meet and come into the fold like this. Cause I think that, I think what you're doing is miles ahead of what other people are doing.
Thank you.
And I think that it definitely comes with the territory. You've done your research. You've lived your research, more importantly. I think that too, like, you know, I mean, just looking around your room and everything, like, it just screams art. You know, and I get it, you know, because that's more of where, you know,
that's where it comes from. Yeah, that's where it starts.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, for lack of a better term, you know, maybe filmmakers, like maybe artists in general. I mean, these are terms that we've kind of like, they're in the echelon, but I think it demands a better term.
Yeah.
You know, because like graffiti artists is kind of like we're kind of that, you know, punk rock filmmakers in a way.
I hate it, but what's his name? Alex Ferrari, fucking, what's he called?
God.
The film entrepreneur.
Yeah, film entrepreneur.
Hate that name, but
I have my own similar beef. Yeah, because Alex Ferrari, he's a great dude.
I love the intentions, man.
I love
everything
him.
He does.
I absolutely love his toxic positivity. But that's exactly what it is, I feel like, you know. And you know what too, you like, we're all saying the same thing. It's not that difficult. You can literally just pick up a fucking iPhone and shoot. You know, that's what we're doing with this fucking thing right now. But it's like, it's crazy in how so many people make it into a bigger thing, and they block themselves off from other people because what can you do to help me? It shouldn't be that way. It should be like, what can I do to help you make your thing work? Because when you win, we all win. I've been saying the same shit for fucking years, dude. Yeah. It's crazy. Real quick, because we've been talking for almost 2 hours.
All good.
I mean, but I love this conversation we're having, man, because it's definitely the smackdown that I think I needed at this point too, just where I'm at.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any pluggables you want to? I mean, I know you got pluggables, but like, give me all of the pluggables.
MAKEA.movie. That's the website. MAKEA.movie.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's it. It's that simple. Yeah.
I would just go. I mean, I plug a bunch of shit, but if you go there, it's got the Instagram link on there. You know, you can plug in your email address and get on the newsletter, which
it's
you can get free stuff.
MAKEA spelled MAKEA. I don't know why I want to keep on saying MAKEA.
It's just MAKEA.
Yeah.
Like the guys make a movie.
MAKEA,
so it's
literally. Yeah.
Dot movie.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant, man. That's brilliant. I think it's really smart that the way that you're going about this, like, because I couldn't even conceive like this idea that you're doing. But it's
a hefty plan, man. Like it's a plan. See, that's the thing too. Like I don't feel it like kind of appears to be a little overwhelming at times.
No, absolutely.
But like, it's a plan. It's a really good plan. Like, and I have it all on paper, and it's not overwhelming. It's pretty fucking. I'm actually pretty surprised how fucking manageable this shit's been. Like, I've been playing my cards pretty right. Like, I've been having, you know, a little bit of help for stuff. Like, I had my buddy help me print shirts. You know, like that took a big load off me. But like, it's just a plan. Like, have a fucking plan. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, make the movie. Have a plan for the movie. Like, we just live in a different time right now. We're in the early, like I said, we're in the late 80s, early 90s as far as a renaissance of art.
Right.
Like, it's this DIY movement's fucking coming like a fucking freight train right now. Because
it's weird how we're circling back to the MTV gen, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
this all started, like, I had a variety show. I had 3 seasons, 30 episodes of variety show in my living room in East LA.
No shit.
You know, like, fucking, it was like Wayne's World meets Tiny Desk, and it was fucking tight. And like, after I did that, I'm not saying I kicked off this whole fucking like trend of like VHS shit, right? Well, but at the time, I was doing I was doing VHS because that was my way of fitting in. Because if you downgrade your shit on a fucking as a style, then you can hang with the big boys, right? Like, which is so fucking stupid. Well, but I remember sending some shit. Check this out. Fucking remember sending shit to us. And like I said, this is probably 100% totally coincidence, but I just like that shit. So
right, no doubt.
So DeSusa and Miro, right? They just got their Showtime deal. Okay, fucking, they went from, I forgot what network they were on, but they went to fucking Showtime. Anyway, started being bigger on social media, right? And I've watched all their shit. They had never done anything like this shit, right? No fucking VHS, like nothing, like da da da. And this is my whole ethos. Like, my whole fucking show was like fucking like I said, basement, like fucking public access, but like
Wayne's World,
like cool, but like nice. Like it wasn't like, it was nice. I'll show you some shit.
Why did it stop? Just time. Just
no. I'll tell you everything. So
okay.
Fucking so
natural story.
We can go another hour. But like fucking.
I know.
Anyway, point of that shit is it's just like I have, it's DIY, dude. It started, that's where it started.
Of course.
It ended in short because of COVID. I went, with 27 episodes out. I had just signed a lease for, I had a 120-foot stage. I had a fucking, I had a studio in Chinatown, right by Dodger Stadium, and signed my lease the day they announced lockdown, right?
Oh my God.
And so in short, I had my homie filling one thing. I had this other dude I found who died like a couple months later, which was crazy, on a lime accident. Fucking
Jesus Christ.
He was on my shit. Sumo Hair, rest in peace. And then and then I started a band just to fill in the last episode. I had never done music in my life.
Oh my God.
And I also made a documentary on that shit. So that was cool. But that's why I stopped, because
Why didn't you release any of this? Yeah,
I released all of it.
On
man.
YouTube?
Just, fucking just,
where can we find that? I mean,
that's all. If you Kyle Geller, if you type in Kyle Geller like that you'll find everything on YouTube. But Kyle Geller, or everything's under El Primo brand.
I see.
So this MAKEA shit is just,
it's a different brand, basically. MAKEA.
It's what everything's, I mean, it's the umbrella. So like you'll know about El Primo brand. Like every fucking thing, it leads back to that shit. Like even the website, I mean, it's all El Primo brand. The guys makeamovie.com, make.movie. It's all elprimobrand.com. So
I see. Okay,
it all
I'll
goes
check
there.
that out then. Yeah.
But that's like the main. That's cool. My main production company. But like,
gotcha.
I don't know. In short, I had to start something new because I'd put out this video like 5-6 years ago, fucking pretty good music video, right? We got 10,000 views in like 30 hours.
Oh wow!
Right? And then since then, the last 6 years, maybe 300. Wow. So I'm like, I don't know, something's wrong with my fucking shit. Even, like maybe I got caught in like a fucking weird algorithm. Like I don't know, but like none of my shit is getting any love. And like
crazy
since I've switched, like even on TikTok, I switched, like the other one, because the other one was El Primo brand and it was KG the director, but it was tied to El Primo brand, right? And like I don't know what the fuck if that shit was getting snagged with like some other fucking brand, I don't know, but like as soon as I did the fucking switch to MAKEA, like on my videos, just my regular ones are just shitting on my other ones, and my other ones are really nice. Like I really reach for quality, like on my other ones, you know, like there's really nice videos.
It's a very strange world we live in, man.
And so
I don't even know how to. That's crazy though, man.
So Kyle Geller, El Primo brand. Okay, you can find pretty much. I took some shit down, but.
Good talking to you, man. That's fucking wild. Dude, no, seriously, my mind is blown. I mean, there's a lot to unpack, but I think really what we can just keep on saying is just keep making movies, right?
Yeah.
You know, just keep going, man.
Just do whatever, whatever that is. Yeah. Because I'm doing, that's... Like, I only sound like this because I'm doing it. Like, that's the cool
you're
part
working
right now.
And you're busy doing it. And I could tell that, I mean, you're so immersed in what you're doing now that you're focused.
You gotta live it, dude. You have to live it.
Nothing else matters. And I feel that.
And it's easier, and it's easier to navigate too. Like, it's easier to navigate with people.
Oh, absolutely.
Bullshit, like all that stuff. Like, because, you know, people, you don't even have to do anything when you work as hard as you do, because people will fucking automatically just fucking stop being around you because they don't want to feel like that. That's a good feeling in some weird fucking way.
Absolutely.
Like, it's lonely, but hey man, fucking I got a family. I don't really give a shit no more.
Well, good talking to you, man.
You too, man.
This
Thanks
is
for having
great.
me.
No, thank you for being a part of it. Yeah, this is. I tell everyone this. I ended off with always thank you for being part of my crazy ass ideas.
Hell yeah.
So this is definitely a long time coming, man, and it's quite the experience. So
I appreciate you having me on, man.
Let's make a movie, bro.
Sounds good.